Hello, BookTube. It's Peg. Remember me? It's been a couple weeks since my last video. It's been an eventful couple of weeks of just working, being very busy working, living, running from forest fires.
Not literally.
But not literally, but close. I might have to post a picture that we took the other day of this forest fire that just started in Boulder County, which is not too far down the road here from us, and we are choking on smoke today. People are evacuating, and I know people out there that can see the flames rising above the ridgeline, so things are pretty real out here in Colorado as far as brush fires, wildfires, so please keep us in your thoughts and prayers. Send rain, man. Prayers for rain, precipitation, no wind. That would be great. Anyway, guys, hey, the purpose of this video is a fall book haul. Again, like I've said, I've been gone a couple weeks. I've been focusing on working, reading, and I just needed some time. I needed some time to decompress and read with all these books I've been getting and showing you. But I've hung on to these books here. I just moved the table. That I had purchased from bookoutlet.com, and I have been telling you about. So we'll see how fast I can get through these. I'll try to make it one video. If not, I'll break it up into two. Let's see. What else do I have coming up video-wise, guys? Because it's been a while since I've made my last video. I feel like I'm out of practice. I'd like to do towards the end of the month, well, it'd be next week actually, October reading wrap-up. I've been reading and writing book reviews. That's the other thing. I've been busy this last couple weeks finishing books for deadline and writing reviews. I'm starting new books and finishing up a couple, and I still need to write more reviews on. So it's been pretty busy. It's been pretty busy, but that's what we do here at the History Shelf. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, by the way. I just feel like I've missed out on everything that's going on this October. But I'm going to go through my book outlet haul. This is the first installment, and the other ones I've already sneaked them past you guys. I've already put them on my bookshelf, but I'll pause the video, grab them off the shelf, and then come over and show you. I'll go through the videos again. So anyway, all right, so let's get started, shall we? We'll start with the paperbacks that I got. The first one is, I was so excited to see this, that they had this on bookoutlet.com, because I had it in my Amazon cart when I recently read a book on the country of Colombia by Wade Davis. It's called Magdalena, River of Dreams, which I highly recommend. It just came out last month. He's the author of The Serpent and the Rainbow and a ton of other great books based on anthropology and travel and just looking at cultures of the world. But I got really into wanting to learn more about Latin America. So this is supposed to be a classic. And this was a Penguin edition. This is The Penguin History of Latin America, fully updated with a new chapter by Edwin Williamson. So it's a very compact little Penguin edition. It's beautiful. I think, again, everything at Book Outlet is so cheap. And let me just say that with these last few book haul videos I'm going to show you, I'm going to post that will probably be my last ones for a while. I might show you a new book here and there, but I kind of went on a splurge in August and September, where all these different books that I was coming across on Hamilton Book and bookoutlet.com, they were just like books like I just had to have for my library. So I think I'm maxed out. I know I am. I know Martine would say that I am.
Well, no, because you've done a huge purge recently.
Oh, I did. Well, I did a purge from the garage.
You did a big...
from the garage storage.
Yeah.
But thanks for saying that, hon. That's real nice.
Yep.
So I did. I donated 6 boxes of books to Vietnam Veterans of America, and so, yeah, but I figure, and I am just feeling that urge just to read, just to hunker down and read, and that's why you guys haven't seen me in a couple weeks. I've just been, the energy I've had left at the end of the day has just been reserved for home life, Martine, the dogs, myself, maintaining health and resting and reading. So, but I miss you guys, and I wanted to show you what I've got. So
That's not true. She didn't want to. She's just sick of you guys, and she doesn't think about you or talk about you at all.
I don't know if you can hear what she's saying in the background, but
disregard it all.
But don't listen to her.
That's right.
I did miss you guys. All right, so as some of you might know, if you've watched my channel for a long time, all the way back to when I was doing these New York Review of Book Classics book hauls, that's a mouthful. I've been collecting a lot of them on topics that interest me, both fiction and nonfiction. And this one was with the book on bookoutlet.com. And I had been wanting to get this because it's based on a topic I'm very much interested in. It's Soviet Russian history. And this is Inhuman Land, Searching for the Truth in Soviet Russia, 1941 to 42 by Joseph Zapsky. And you'd think I would know how to pronounce that. My name ends in a ski, but you got the CZ, so it's Sabsky. Introduction by Timothy Snyder, who wrote Bloodlands, a very large work of history on the areas between Germany and Russia that just saw so much bloodshed during World War II. So Timothy Snyder writes the introduction to this. Obviously, I didn't really read you a synopsis of this last book because it kind of says it's just a compact history. But if you're wondering what this one is about, Inhuman Land I'll read it to you real quick. In 1941, when Germany turned against the USSR, tens of thousands of Poles, men, women, and children who were starving, sickly, and impoverished, were released from Soviet prison camps and allowed to join the Polish army being formed in the south of Russia. One of the survivors who made the difficult winter journey was the painter and reserve officer Joseph Sapsky. General Anders, the army's commander-in-chief, assigned Sapsky the task of receiving the Poles arriving for military training, gathering accounts of what their fates had been, organizing education, culture, and news for the soldiers, and, most important, investigating the disappearance of thousands of missing Polish officers. That sounds like the Katyn Forest affair there. Blocked at every level by the Soviet authorities, Sapsky was unaware that in April 1940, here it is, many officers had been shot dead in Katyn Forest, a crime for which Soviet Russia never accepted responsibility. So this is Sapsky's account of the years following his release from the camp and the formation of the Polish army and its arduous trek through Central Asia and the Middle East to fight on the Italian front. And it offers a stark depiction of Stalin's Russia at war and of the suffering stoicism and bravery of his fellow Poles. Anyway, so that is going to be a really riveting read. Again, New York Review of Books Classic. And it was like $5.95, $6.95. So I got that. Ooh, and another good juicy one. I love Hannah Arendt. I have several of her works, and the most recent one I finished was the Eichmann in Jerusalem, which was fantastic. So I came across this collected as it's a collection of her essays, and I just I had to have it. This is the Jewish Writings by Hannah Arendt. It's edited by Jerome Cohn and Ron H. Feldman. So I'll just read you a quick synopsis of her, and it's a pretty thick little paperback here. Although Hannah Arendt is not primarily known as a Jewish thinker, she probably wrote more on Jewish issues than on any other topic. As a young adult in Germany, she wrote about German Jewish history. After moving to France in 1933, she helped Jewish youth immigrate to Palestine. During her years in Paris, her principal concern was the transformation of anti-Semitism from prejudice to policy. which would culminate in the Nazi final solution. After France fell, Arendt escaped from an internment camp and made her way to America. There she wrote articles calling for a Jewish army to fight the Nazis. After the war, she supported the creation of a Jewish homeland and a binational Arab-Jewish state of Israel. Let's see. The publication of the Jewish writings, much of which has never appeared before, traces Arendt's life and thought as a Jew. It will put an end to any doubts about the centrality, from beginning to end, of Arendt's Jewish experience. So that is the Jewish writings. Very happy to have that. Oh, now this is a book that my friend on Twitter, Lawrence Westwood, he is an author, had recommended to me. We converse a lot on Twitter and elsewhere about military history mostly, a lot of things on Southeast Asia, in China. I mean, he writes mysteries set in China. And when I did my, when was it? I think when I did my book review of Just Another Day in Vietnam, or actually I think it was also after that, and when I did the book review of The Things That Carried by Tim O'Brien, and I think that was you, Lawrence, and if it was someone else who recommended this, I think it was you. Anyway, let me know. This novel, called The Sorrow of War, a novel of North Vietnam, by Bao Ninh. And this is a story, because everything I've been reading so far is from the American's point of view, like an American serviceman or whatever. And this is told from the other side, which to me is, I've always been intrigued by reading, the opposing number, what was the experience of what we, back then would call the enemy, and this is supposed to be just a very well-known classic story in that field. The Sorrow of War provides a strikingly honest look at how the Vietnam War forever changed the North Vietnamese soldier, particularly Bao Ninh. Here he tells the story of Kien, a lone survivor from the glorious 27th Youth Brigade of the Viet Cong, revisits the haunting sites of battles and relives a parade of horrors as he grapples with his ghosts and his alcoholism and attempts to arrange his life in writing. Originally published against government wishes in Vietnam because of its non-heroic, non-ideological tone, Nin's now classic work has won worldwide acclaim and become an international bestseller. So this was available. I was doing some deep searching on bookoutlet.com. Sometimes you got to really apply the different category filters and stuff, and really, get in there with a fine-tooth comb to find the gems. And I found this one for $4, I think. So I was really happy to get it. Right. Next paperback goes along with my fairly substantial library on like Mesoamerican studies, particularly the Aztecs. Again, this one just popped up, and I was so happy to find it. This is the Broken Spears, the Aztec account of the conquest of Mexico. It's a new expanded edition. This is by Miguel Leon Portilla. It's with a foreword by J. Jorge Clora de Alva. Sorry. Not very mellifluous with my Spanish here. So what's fascinating about this is the Aztec account and not the Spanish account, a European account of the conquest of Mexico. This is by the actual people who lived through that event. So let me just read this to you real quick. For hundreds of years, the history of the conquest of Mexico and the defeat of the Aztecs has been told in the words of the Spanish victors. Miguel Leon Portilla has long been at the forefront of expanding that history to include the voices of indigenous peoples. In this new and updated edition of his classic, The Broken Spears, Leon Portilla has included accounts from native Aztec descendants across the centuries. These texts bear witness to the extraordinary vitality of an oral tradition that preserves the viewpoints of the vanquished instead of the victors. And then he has a new postscript in this book. He reflects upon the critical importance of these unexpected historical accounts. So it's a little volume, but I'm happy to add that to my my current library. I don't know what's going on with the lighting here. I promise you I don't have jaundice. I don't know what's going on. I gotta change this lighting. It is horrific. There we go. It just looks sickly yellow. I don't know what's going on.
Do you want to pause it, or you want to?
Nope, we're gonna keep mushing on. I'm gonna pause it in a second after this last book.
Okay.
Hi guys. All right, so so I decided to get this book even though I'm not close to reading it yet, because I decided long ago, and I told you guys that I enjoy the Mysteries of Elizabeth George, the Inspector Lynley series, and I'm reading them in order. And I'm on book number 4 right now, and I'm probably going to finish that in the next week. It's called A Suitable Vengeance. But you know, you can find the rest of the books in paperback of her series on either Hamilton Book or bookoutlet.com for like $4 or $5, and I just decided I'm going to start picking them up so that when I get, you know, closer to these books later in the series, I have them. And so this one is...
Drop it.
Boomer.
He's stealing things as you're talking, and he knows I can't go over to smack his butt.
You are being a naughty boy.
That's an opportunist, mister. You go to your bed, your butt's fat enough.
See, he's getting...
You little fat dog.
You fat little dog, you.
Fat little dog, you.
That's what we say when we've had it up
All
to
I hear
that.
is like thunk.
Yeah, he's just, you know, Boomer, we love you, but I'm trying to make a video.
He's just a little too smart.
Some things never change in these videos. The dogs will always find a way to interrupt it. And as you can see, I have just One Evil Act by Elizabeth George in my hands. This is a Lindley novel. And when I say novel, look at how big this is. This is... The thing I'm discovering with her books and that I'm liking so much is it's not just your standard detective mystery. It's a huge... her characters, their lives, I mean, it's an ongoing saga. So it really is like a wonderful marrying of detective novel with, I don't know, relationship drama, contemporary stuff, you know, life issues, you know, women in the workplace, you know, women trying to climb the ladder, and then class differences, and I mean, she covers a lot of different things. This thing is massive. Have you ever seen just a standard detective novel this big? This thing is over 700 pages long. So it's more than just a detective mystery. Anyway, I think this one is, oh, this could be like number 8 or 9 in the series, I think. But I've started collecting them, and, oh, that's a nice, look at that, nice little picture in the front there. A Lindley novel, right? So, yes, this one is, ooh, she's got a lot of books, like almost 20 of them, I think, in this series. So I just picked it up to have it, and I'm glad I do. It's a beautiful Penguin edition, paperback. Happy to have it. Okay, so I'm going to pause real quick, get the rest of the books from Beat the Dog, and then I'll be right back. All right. And we're back. And look at that. We have better lighting.
God said let there be light.
Let there be light. Whoop. Got a recent haircut. I'm kind of rocking a spiky hairdo. So I cleared off the bookcase behind this camera of the, this was all from 2 or 3 separate book outlet shipments, the ones I'm showing you in this video. So I've kind of combined them all into this one. So I can't even lift this up, but I think you can see in the corner. This is the rest of the book. Oh my God. Oh, see, as you can see, so now you know why I'm not going to be really buying any more books. However, I still have one last large Hamilton book, book haul to show you. I haven't even unboxed those yet. plus I've gotten quite a few from publishers for the new like fall history releases, so that's another video as well. Anyway, I am set. I am so stocked for fall, winter, spring. Oh, and the other thing, guys, I should tell you, just as a way of catching up with you, is that we've decided to move forward with selling this place and buying a house. So, you know, there might be some time in between videos. There's going to be some. It's going to get quite hectic around here.
Or, you know what, just plan for maybe some more spontaneous ones, like when you come across a specific book, and just ignore the movers in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I could take more videos on my phone.
Yeah.
You know, just do some booktube on the move. You know, 3-minute videos or something. I don't know. Let me know if you guys even care to know what's going on in my life. If you don't, then hey, no worries. You can just rewatch my book haul videos.
Won't take that personally at all.
Won't take it personally at all. Got big fish to fry here. So yeah, we're excited about moving and not excited about having to pack up all these books. But I told Martina, I said, I'll take money out of savings. I'm paying for highly qualified movers. I'm not lifting any of these boxes. My back would just go out in a second. Someone else can get a hernia. It ain't going to be this gal.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I have several of this gentleman's books. He wrote back in the, when did you write, Mr. Braudel? A long time ago. I got several of his books in the upstairs library. You know, once we get a new place and I can finally really set up my library the way it should be, as far as maybe subject, you know, and authors, and, you know, because right now things are still really mixed up. Then I can do proper bookshelf tours and I'll feel very comfortable about it. So maybe we'll wait until we get the new place. Anyway, I picked up Ferdinand Braudel's A History of Civilizations. Again, I've been finding a lot of great Penguin copies on Book Outlet. They're just wonderful. I mean, I showed you a few you know, earlier in this video, but I have his 3-volume... Oh, gosh, where is this? Ferdinand Braudel. Okay, so he was born in 1902 in France. And he has a degree in history, or he did. Let's see. He was one of the like leading French historians, I think, and also I think a sociologist. Maybe. I mean, some of his books like talk about like food and the evolution of like the culture in. I can't think of it right now, but it's... Oh, now I need to show you guys that 3-volume set. Hold, please. Okay. I'm back. Okay, it's going to make sure the thing is moving. All right, so I went upstairs and got these 3-volume set that I have. I bought them used. But actually it wasn't about food or anything. I'm confusing him with another writer, but he wrote a 3-volume history on civilization and capitalism. Let me see here, I'm running out of desk space. So the first one is The Structures of Everyday Life, Civilization and Capitalism from the 15th to the 18th Century, Volume 1. Then I picked up The Wheels of Commerce, which is Volume 2 in the series. Right? And then in paperback, I wasn't able to get it in hardcover, is The Perspective of the World. So got his complete study on civilization and capitalism. Now, how much this one's going to overlap or take from, or is a distillation of these three, I'll find out once I start digging into it. But let me just read a quick synopsis here. Let me see, am I still recording? Yes. Okay. In this illuminating account, one of the century's greatest historians surveys the main contemporary civilizations, and that's in quotes. Separate sections examine the Muslim world, Black Africa, the Far East, Western Europe, from the fall of the Roman Empire to political union, the other, quote, the other Europe, end quote, to the east, the European civilizations of the New World, and, quote, the English-speaking universe, unquote. Even an educational text, Braudel once suggested, can be a tale of adventure, provided it is written with a simplicity that is clarity, the light of intelligence. This clarity is present throughout the history of civilizations. So, I was just browsing through it and looking at the contents, table of contents here. It's just, it looks outstanding. Yep, it covers everything that I just read to you. He looks at art, culture. Ooh, Japan. That looks great. Can't wait to read about that. All right, so I got Ferdinand Braudel, which I will add to my pretty hefty Braudel collection. Okay, I gotta put that on the floor. Woo! Okay, oh, this kind of goes with this, but all right. Anyway, I saw this book, and it kind of goes with, again, that theme of I was reading about Colombia this summer for this book I reviewed for Book Browse Review. And I got really interested in the transformation of the city of Medellin, or Medellin, which at the time of Pablo Escobar, I mean, that's pretty much where, like, if you, to make a current cultural reference, or, pop cultural, like the show, Narcos.
Really good.
Martine says was really good. I couldn't get past some of the brutal violence in the first few episodes, but
brutal. But the guy who played Escobar was fantastic.
The guy who played Escobar was good. I need to finish that series
It's really
to see
good.
what. I mean, I know what happens to him.
Yeah, spoiler alert. It doesn't end well.
Doesn't end well for him, but I became fascinated not only by, yes, the darker aspect of what happened in Medellin, and just the whole drug trade, how rich this guy was insane. I don't think anyone at one point in history had as much money as he had, or something. I think I read that in Wade Davis's book. Anyway, I became very interested in how this city, because he went to Medellin and reported about how people are trying to retake the city, and they're building cultural centers and opening up libraries, and so I thought that was a beautiful aspect of a town that was once just so, like, murder central, and the drug cartels and the far right wing militias were warring against each other, and the poor citizens were caught in the middle. Anyway, I didn't realize that the great writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez had written a book around this a time period, and it's called News of a Kidnapping. And let me just read this to you. In 1990, fearing extradition to the United States, Pablo Escobar, head of the Medellin drug cartel, kidnapped 10 notable Colombians to use as bargaining chips. With the eye of a poet, Garcia Marquez describes the survivors' perilous ordeal and the bizarre drama of the negotiations for their release. He also depicts the keening ache of Colombia after nearly 40 years of rebel uprisings, right-wing death squads, currency collapse, and narco-democracy. With cinematic intensity, breathtaking language, and journalistic rigor, Garcia Marquez evokes the sickness that inflicts his beloved country and how it penetrates every strata of society, from the lowliest peasant to the president himself. So, again, I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. Also...
That's a weird reaction for you to have about a book.
Well, just because
I've never heard that before. What did you do again? You were excited and enthusiastic? You were curious?
Oh, I'm curious.
What? About a...
listen, because I learned about Colombia
That's
from
weird,
the last...
honey.
You know what?
You've missed me.
Some of my viewers might, honey.
Not you. Yeah. This is why we're looking for a house, guys.
This is why we're looking for a house. She's working in the desk behind me right now, so we need more space. But no. No, but I'm intrigued because, again, I want to know more about. Um, I'm really rooting for Colombia. That's all I can say. I guess, that once I became aware of what was going on from the last book I read, you know, these people have just been through just hell, and I really want them to come out on the other side. So, along those lines, I had heard about this book from a documentary that I saw shortly after reading the Wade Davis book on Colombia about Pablo Escobar and his family, and his son in particular, who wrote a memoir. And so I decided to pick this up. And of course, they ripped the back of the book is ripped, but I can tape that. That's no problem. But, and here, I'll just show you. So this is Pablo Escobar, My Father, by Juan Pablo Escobar. And there's Pablo Escobar on the back there, and his son on the shoulders. So he was featured in this documentary as he visited some of the places where they either stored the drugs or, whatever, and just talked about his memories. And it says here in the overleaf here, the popular series Narcos captures only half the truth. Here at last is the full story. Let's see here. Until now, we believe that everything had been said about the rise and fall of Pablo Escobar, the most infamous drug kingpin of all time. But these versions have always been told from the outside, never from the intimacy of his own home. More than 2 decades after the full-fledged manhunt finally caught up with the king of cocaine, Juan Pablo Escobar travels to the past to reveal an unabridged version of his father, a man capable of committing the most extreme acts of cruelty, while simultaneously professing infinite love for his family. This is not the story of a child seeking redemption for his father, but a shocking look at the consequences of violence and the overwhelming need for peace and forgiveness. Amen. So, so that sounded really, that kind of went along with the Gabriel Garcia Marquez book, and then I've got that book on Latin America, the Penguin history of. And now I realize you guys are looking right here and you're like, oh, that's great that she's got that just sitting there. Let's just go ahead and hit this one next. This is like an older paperback version. This is from William Morrow. This is probably printed. This is a 2002 edition. I've heard of this author's name, and I'm sure many of you can tell me in the comments what else I should be aware of this guy's books. But anyway, this is called The German General's Talk by B.H. Little Hart. Startling revelations from Hitler's high command.
They were big stamp collectors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love stamps.
Sorry, you don't need to buy the book now. You're welcome.
Let's read a little snippet here. The German generals who survived Hitler's Reich talk over World War II with Captain Little Hart. Oh, talk in present tense. Okay. The German generals who survived Hitler's Reich talk over World War II with Captain Little Hart, noted British military strategist and writer. They speak as professional soldiers to a man they know and respect. For the first time, answers are revealed to many questions raised during the war. Was Hitler the genius of strategy he seemed to be at first? Why did his generals never overthrow him? Why did Hitler allow the Dunkirk evacuation? Current interest, of course, focuses on the German general's opinion of the Red Army as a fighting force. What did the Russians look like from the German side? How did we look? And what are the advantages and disadvantages under which dictator-controlled armies fight? In vivid, non-technical language, Captain Little Hart reports these interviews and evaluates the vital military lessons of World War II. So, being the military World War II history geek that I am, this sounded really good, and it was super cheap, so just snagged it. Oh, and here's a book that I get to also credit back to Andrew B's channel. I think it was when he was talking about, was it his recent series on Engels, or was it the one on, help me out, Andrew. Tell me where it was from, but you mentioned this book as one of your references. And this is R.H. Tawney's Religion and the Rise of Capitalism. I think you were talking about the, how the Reformation in many ways was kind of not kidnapped, but kind of overtaken by the more mercantile interests who liked the aspect of, the freedom from state religion, state church, of Catholicism to really just kind of make money, and how antithetical that was to actually Luther's idea of what the Reformation was about. And you had mentioned this work. Now, you had a different version. I think it's like an old hardcover version. But again, I mentioned this in one of my last videos, that this Verso World History series, there's just been a glut of these type of books on the bargain book shopping sites. And I'm finding, last time I showed you one, I showed you a Max Weber book, the agrarian history of civilizations or something like that, like the aspect of the growth of the agrarian society. But they had R.H. Tawney's Religion and the Rise of Capitalism. So let me just read this in case any of you probably did not see my previous videos or Andrew B's, but I highly recommend you check out his channel. In one of the true classics of 20th century political economy, R.H. Tawney investigates the way religion has molded social and economic practice. He tracks the influence of religious thought on capitalist economy and ideology since the Middle Ages, shedding light on the question of why Christianity continues to exert a unique role in the marketplace. The book offers an incisive analysis of the morals and mores of contemporary Western culture. And R.H. Tawney, he lived from 1880 to 1962. So, and it says here he was an English economic historian, social critic, ethical socialist, Christian socialist, and an important proponent of adult education.
A double socialist.
He was a double socialist.
That's impressive.
I might have to get rid of this book now. Just kidding. I can read it.
Oh,
I didn't know he was a socialist. No. So I got that, and I was really excited to see that. This one also looked intriguing. I love books that are just kind of like take you out on like limbs of just little specific keyhole themes. And this one is on diversity, the eclipse of the individual in a global era by Russell Jacoby. I got this for hardcover. And now, when did this book come out? Because I got it. Oh, it's been blurbed by Gore Vidal, Christopher Hitchens. Not a fan of Howard Zinn. Sorry, I'm not going to mention him. Sean Willents, he's a great historian. Got his books too, read him. This came out in, get out of Dodge. I thought this was an older book. It says it came out in 2020. I don't know how it's already a bargain book. I don't know about that. But let me just read this real quick. It could be argued, and esteemed historian of ideas Russell Jacoby does so here, that the less diversity there is, the more we talk about it. But what does the term actually mean? Where does it come from? What are its intellectual precedents? Moreover, how do we square our recognition of the importance of diversity with the fact that the world is becoming more and more, homogeneous? In fine prose and lucid argument, Jacoby puts our volatile present into historical context. Examining diversity, or lack thereof, in language, fashion, childhood experience, political structure, and the history of ideas, Jacoby offers a surprising and penetrating analysis of our cultural moment and invites his readers to participate in the most dangerous and liberating act, to stop and think. So, that sounded really up my alley. Love it. Okay, so now I'm coming to the last 6 books, and they're all big hardcovers. Oh, let's see here. We'll start with... I've got 2 books. The next 3 books I'm going to show you actually are all related around in the theme of China. So I'm going to add to my China historical library. I saw this, and this book came out. I thought it was still going to be still fairly relevant. It came out 2017. Everything Under the Heavens: How the Past Helps Shape China's Push for Global Power by Howard W. French. It's by Knopf. I just thought it had a really beautiful cover too. Well, that's not why I bought it, the cover. But let's see here. Just try to give you, I know it's already a 40-minute video, but you know what? It's been a while, guys. This might be a long one. I'm sorry. For many years after its reform and opening in 1978, China maintained an attitude of false modesty about its ambitions. That role, reports Howard W. French, has been set aside. China has asserted its place among the global heavyweights, revealing its plans for Pan-Asian dominance by building its navy, increasing territorial claims to areas like the South China Sea, and diplomatically and economically bullying smaller players. We see how its actions affecting its nearest neighbors, Japan and Vietnam among others, can tell us much of how it will deal with the rest of the world. And I'll skip this part. That's steeped in deeply researched history as well as on-the-ground reporting. This is French at his revelatory best. Let's see. Ian Baruma has blurbed this book. He wrote A Year Zero, A History of 1945, among many other really good works. Yeah. So, Everything Under the Heavens. So that's my first book on China. Oh, and I've been wanting this one for a while, and I just forgot about it, and then it came up again. And this is about the birth of modern China. This is called A Force So Swift. It's a mixture of Chinese history and also American, foreign affairs. Mao, Truman, and the Birth of Modern China, 1949, by Kevin Perino. This came out several years ago. Well, it's only 3 years ago. Seems like it's been forever. It's 2017. This is the first edition that I just scored on this, but it's a gripping narrative of the Truman administration's response to the fall of nationalist China and the triumph of Mao Zedong's communist forces in 1949, an extraordinary political revolution that continues to shape East Asian politics to this day. So, since we're running long, I won't read much more of that, but you get the gist. That's what this one is about. Okay, the next one on China has more of a nice religious, historical, not theological, but kind of talks about the role of religion in China after Mao. And this is called The Souls of China: The Return of Religion After Mao by Ian Johnson. It's by Pantheon Books. I had never heard of this book. It had never crossed my radar before I stumbled across it in my shopping at Bargain Book Outlet or bookoutlet.com. Again, another 2017 book. Let's read this here. The Souls of China tells the story of one of the world's great spiritual revivals. Following a century of violent anti-religious campaigns, China is now filled with new temples, churches, and mosques, as well as cults, sects, and politicians trying to harness religion for their own ends. Driving this explosion of faith is uncertainty over what it means to be Chinese and how to live an ethical life in a country that discarded traditional morality a century ago and is searching for new guideposts. So Ian Johnson first visited China in 1984. In the 1990s, he helped run a charity to rebuild Taoist temples, and in 2001, he won a Pulitzer Prize for his coverage of the suppression of the Falun Gong spiritual movement. While researching this book, he lived for extended periods with underground church members, rural Taoists, and Buddhist pilgrims. Along the way, he learned esoteric meditation techniques, visited a nonagenarian Confucian sage, and befriended government propagandists as they fashioned a remarkable embrace of traditional values. He has distilled these experiences into a cycle of festivals, births, deaths, detentions, and struggle. A great awakening of faith that is shaping the soul of the world's newest superpower. So, I felt like these three books really kind of, they all kind of, bookend each other in a sense, You've got a little bit of the formation of modern China here. This one kind of talks about where they're going as a nation, and then this one about religion. So I thought these would make an outstanding collection to my China library. Oh, I gotta put those on the floor. Okay, 3 more, guys. Can you hang with me? All right.
You're doing multiple videos.
No, because I have more videos to make. So, and I told, and Kara told me she would love to have an hour-long video.
This is for you.
This is for you, Kara.
Yeah.
Everyone else is probably tuned out 30 minutes ago.
I'm gonna go do my laundry.
Whew. All right. This is a book on. We're gonna move to England now. We're gonna move to the. Oh, it's not the. What age was the? Remember when the 2 Charles were kings? Yeah, Martine, do you remember when they were the king? How long have you been around?
Was executed?
Yeah, but was that considered a certain age? It wasn't.
The shitty time to be king.
It was the shitty time to be. Oh, it was the shitty time to be king age. Not the Tudor age, or the Edwardian age, or the Victorian age, or the Gregorian age. It was the shitty time to be a king in England age. Anyway, this book says it all. I don't know what it was. This is Killers of the King. The Men Who Dared to Execute Charles I by Charles Spencer. So, maybe it was the parliamentarian era. I don't know. If there was a certain name attached to that era, but anyway.
Cromwell was an asshole area?
Cromwell, we know Cromwell was. After 7 years of fighting in the bloodiest war in Britain's history, Parliament had overpowered King Charles I and now faced a problem. What to do with a defeated king? A king who refused to surrender. Well, you kill him, obviously.
This is timely.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't need the FBI knocking at my door.
Yeah. Well, if they do, I hope they bring in some books from the front. That'd be great.
Yeah, if they can.
You could just help with the book below.
If you could just help with the books that are delivered daily to my doorstep.
Go quietly. If you could just take these really quick. Thank you.
Yeah. So parliamentarians resolved to do the unthinkable, to disregard the divine right of kings and hold Charles I accountable for the appalling suffering and slaughter endured by his people. A tribunal of 135 men was hastily gathered in London, and although Charles refused to acknowledge the power of his subjects to try him, the death sentence was unanimously passed on an icy winter's day on a scaffold outside Whitehall in an event unique in English history. The King of England was executed. When the dead king's son, Charles II, was restored to the throne, he set about enacting a deadly wave of retribution against all those, the lawyers, the judges, the officers on the scaffold, responsible for his father's death. Some of the regicides, the killers of the king, pleaded for mercy while others stoically awaited their sentence. Many went into hiding in England or fled to Europe or America. Those who were caught and condemned suffered agonizing and degrading ends, while others saw out their days in hellish captivity. This makes for delightful, wonderfully, light reading, right, honey?
You know what?
I didn't know it was going to be so dark, but I should have.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I'd be like, tell us more about the beheading.
She's into it. All right. I'll read you a chapter at bedtime or something.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. No.
I'm the one who, when we watched a horror movie last night, then later on repeated a phrase from the horror movie right as she was gone.
Yeah, thanks, babe. That was awful.
Horror movies don't affect me, and I should understand that they do affect other people.
Yeah, but you waited to just drop it. You just dropped the mic.
I did. I
and
dropped
you walked
it.
away.
And I walked away. Sleep sweet.
You suck.
No, I didn't. Okay. Anyway, Killers of the King. We're losing. I'm losing. It's 50 minutes. I've lost my whole audience now at this point. Okay. I wanted to get this book because I had recently read a book by Catherine Curzon called Sophia, the Woman Who Could Have Been Queen. I think that was a subtitle, and I mentioned that book on this channel. What a fabulous little read about Sophia, the Electress of Hanover. She was the daughter I think she was the granddaughter of Charles the First or something like that. Anyway, she is one of the daughters of the Winter Queen, and as we know, the Winter Queen was. Well, let me just read the subtitle. So it's Daughters of the Winter Queen. 4 remarkable sisters, the crown of Bohemia, and the enduring legacy of Mary, Queen of Scots. And this is by Nancy Goldstone. I'm sure many of you history readers and readers of royalty and British royalty have heard of Nancy Goldstone. But they mentioned Sophia was the daughter of... oh, yes, Elizabeth Stuart. Okay, so Elizabeth Stuart was the Winter Queen, and then she had all these daughters. Right. Let's see here. From the great courts, glittering palaces, and war-ravaged battlefields of the 17th century comes the story of 4 spirited sisters and their glamorous mother, Elizabeth Stuart, granddaughter of the martyred Mary, Queen of Scots. Okay. Let's see. Then it goes into Elizabeth Stuart, and then how she married a German count, far below her rank, but it was for love. With the understanding that her father would help her husband achieve the kingship of Bohemia. Okay. But that didn't work out. But so Elizabeth would become known as the Winter Queen. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't heard about the long-range person,
it didn't work out.
Here's the deal.
Forced into exile, the Winter Queen and her family found refuge in Holland, where the glorious art and culture of the Dutch Golden Age indelibly shaped her daughters' lives. Her eldest, Princess Elizabeth, became a scholar who earned the respect and friendship of the philosopher René Descartes. Louisa was a gifted painter whose engaging manner and appealing looks provoked heartache and scandal. Beautiful Henrietta Maria would be the only sister to marry into royalty, although at great cost. But it was the youngest, Sophia, a heroine in the tradition of a Jane Austen novel, whose ready wit and good-natured common sense masked immense strength of character, who fulfilled the promise of her great-grandmother Mary and reshaped the British monarchy, a legacy that endures to this day, which is true, because Sophia was the mother of King George the First. She began basically the whole Georgian line, right? And she might have been named Queen if she had outlived what was her face, Queen Anne, who just hung on until the very. She didn't want Sophia to get the throne. But what a great book by Catherine Curzon on Sophia. Sophia was. I can see where they're saying that she was in the tradition of a heroine from a Jane Austen novel. So I was excited to maybe get another book to read more about Sophia and also her sisters. I think one of them became a nun, and they were very close. I think it was Louisa. So Nancy Goldstone, The Daughters of the Winter Queen, you guys. Let me know what you think about any of these books. 53 minutes. Final book. We're wrapping up right now. Harold Bloom. I've got several of his books. I think the last book haul I showed you, I picked up a newer copy of the Western Canon. And this was a book he wrote not too long before he died. Possessed by Memory, The Inward Light of Criticism. I've seen this book on another channel. I think Mark at Richardson Reads was reading this. I think he enjoyed it. It's a beautiful decollage version. I think I got it for $9. So it's a collection. Let me see here. I think it's a collection of his essays, reflections, meditations. let me see, just read you the first paragraph. Now, well, he passed away, but it says, here Harold Bloom gives us his most personal book, a 4-part spiritual autobiography in the form of brief, luminous readings of poetry, drama, and prose, much of which he has had by heart since childhood. That's interesting. Gone are the polemics. Here Bloom argues. Why do people do this? Here Bloom argues elegically with nobody but himself. Or elegically. Elegically. Okay. He offers startling meditations on, among other foundational concerns, Kabbalah, the Hebrew prophets, Psalms, Job, the Song of Songs, and Ecclesiastes. Then there's some reflections and stuff on Shakespeare, philosophers, the Romantic poets. So it's just, if you love literature and poetry and drama, especially Shakespeare, this book will be a joy to have. And I enjoy his writing, so I'm not necessarily into poetry, but I do like, I just thought I should have it, and he did pass away, and I'm kind of gotten a few more of his books since then, and so I know he has a new one coming out. Trying to recall who alerted me to that. I think it might have been John David. Thank you, John. But Possessed by Memory. And so that's my final book, you guys, from 3 recent boxes of book outlet, boxes that came through. I just kind of combined them all together for this 56-minute video. Anyway, woo, my voice is parched and hoarse. Until next time, which I will have more to talk about and show you what I've been reading and what I've read, and just good stuff like that. Maybe some fun stuff, some dog pictures, and maybe I'll throw in some pictures of the smoky fires out here. That's not as fun. But I've just got, I keep looking over here because I have books. I have more books to show you. Anyway, let me know what you think of any of these, guys, and I look forward to hearing from you. It's good to see all of you again, and I will talk to you soon. From myself and Martine, the Peanut Gallery.
Do not say the thing that you said.
I will not say the thing that I said after the horror movie last night.
No. But go ahead and sleep sweet.
Oh, she said it.
Yeah.
Sleep sweet.